What's up, everybody? This is Mr. 100K a day with another episode of the biggest hater in track and field. And we have very good news, everybody. Very good news. The good news is that a thing Mo will not be competing at the 800 meters dash in the Olympics. And I'm so happy that she didn't make it. See them tears on her face? You see them tears on her face, y'all? I'm here to I'm gonna be the first one to tell y'all you reap what you sow. You want to play with track and field, guys. You want to squander your God-given talent. You want to keep pulling out of meets because you under Bob Kersey. It don't matter if you Sydney McLaughlin. It don't matter if you Athing Mu. It don't matter who you are. You keep playing with your talent. You think you're gonna get a free pass. And guess what? When things like this happen, it's a prime example of what happens when you're talented, but you squander your talent and you play games and you do nothing to promote the sport. When you dodge and dip in and out of meets, when you do things that establish that you really don't care about your fans, guess what? These types of things happen, and I am happy to see it happen to her. I want her sitting at home, exactly where I am, watching the Olympics from television, from home. You know why? Because you didn't deserve it. You didn't deserve it. You didn't deserve it on multiple levels. Let me tell you how she didn't deserve it on multiple levels. Number one, let's be clear. Let's be clear. She pulled out of so many meets. Her and Sydney pulled out of so many meets that it was ridiculous. There were fans out there who were hoping to see her at different meets. And guess what? She didn't show up because she's on the Bob Kersey, and they would get under this silly regimen where they would say, oh, we're considering skipping this meet. Oh, we don't want to do that. Oh, this is not something we're interested in right now. If you guys remember correctly, right? And I want people to remember, because we track and field is not a very big sport. It's a very small sport. Last year, she was actually considering skipping the world championships. Skipping the world championships, y'all. Let's not forget this article that came out. So I'm gonna read this article, y'all. This was just last year when it was the 2023 Worlds. Okay. So this is what the article said. One of track and field's biggest stars may be absent when the 2023 World Athletics Championships begin in Budapest on August the 19th. Athing Mu, the reigning world and Olympic champion at 800 meters, is still undecided whether she will run Worlds this year, according to an interview with her coach, Bobby Kersey, with of the LA Times. Here's the kicker. She's not injured. Let's remember this, guys. Here is the kicker. She is not injured. Kersey said Mo is still training and plans on entering the Worlds. The U.S. roster is expected to be announced this week, but could decide to scratch before the meet. If Mo does scratch, it won't impact the rest of the U.S. team, and she has a bye as the reigning world champion. It's in our control if we decide we're just going to go ahead and train through this year and focus on next year. Then that's what we're going to do. Kersey told the LA Times. The train is going well, but our thought process openly is that we're going to just train here in LA for the next 2 weeks. And as the time gets on the plane, and no, I'm sorry, in the next 2 weeks, and the next time she gets on the plane, it'll either be on vacation or to Budapest. Mo has only competed in 2 meets since winning the 800-meter world title in Eugene last year. She ran 158.73 to win at 800 at the USATF New York Grand Prix on June 24th. Then 403.44 to finish second at 1500 at Nationals. She was scheduled to run 800 meters at the Ed Murphy Classic in Memphis on Friday, but is withdrawn from that meet. So before I go any further, this type of behavior, guys, this type of entitled mentality when it comes to track and field, guess what? It comes to bite these athletes in the butt. And I'm so happy, so happy that she failed. She fell on her face, and she will not be going to the Olympics. And there's no reason why she should be considered in the relay pool. Now, listen, guys, this isn't personal. This is just business. I love Athing Mu. I love what she represents. I love that she's Sudanese. I love that she's a Black woman doing amazing things. But for the purposes of track and field, and to grow the sport, she is horrible in the formula that Bob Kersey and that Sydney McLaughlin and this thing that they're doing of barely running and only trying to show up for big meets like the Olympics came back to bite them in the butt. And guess what? It does not work. Because guess what? She took her energy, her time, her efforts, and she had focused on building the sport, getting a union so that the athletes have power. She could have changed the rules that would have made her appeal go through. She could have said, hey, I'm the reigning Olympic champion. Guess what? The process for selecting the people who can go to the Olympics for the United States Olympic Committee could be similar to what it is in maybe the UK or Jamaica, where it's not automatically the top 3 make it, where there's a selection process, yes, but there's also you have to get like a top ranking too, in how you compete. So this happening to her was a prime example of what happens when you have no backbone. You pick and choose when you want to run, and when you go out here and you take the sport as a joke, and the athletes are cowards and have no union and don't establish any rules and principles. Because guess what? When bad things happen, you have nobody to have your back. You expect USATF to have your back? Don't you realize if USATF or these guys could pop her using some type of drugs, they'll get rid of her. They will. So she don't recognize that. And until she recognizes that, and Bob Curtis and the rest of these other morons recognize exactly what they're doing, things like this will continue to happen. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy. As a matter of fact, I may take the rest of the day off. I may take my baby mamas and my side chicks out for dinner tonight to celebrate Athing Mu being not eligible to run the 800 meters and defend her Olympic title at the Olympic Games, because she got exactly what she deserved. You got exactly what you deserve for pulling out of all these meets and hurting the fans. You hurt the sport, and guess what? The chickens have come home to roost. Live in it. Love it. Love every minute of it. And I hope those tears that was on your face, I hope those tears that look on your face, it should stay on your face. It looked like you're taking a crap. That's what it looked like. And I hope that face, you maintain that face until you get your life together and your mind right, until you decide to stand for something. Tell me you want to pull out of all these meets. Let me finish reading this article, guys. It's important to know that Mo and Kersey are undecided at this point. There's still a chance she could run at the 800 at Worlds. Now, mind you, let me put this disclaimer out there. She ended up running at Worlds. I think she ended up getting the bronze last year. But that's besides the point. It should not even be a debate of whether you're going to skip a world championship meet to prepare for the Olympics and just go on vacation. They can't do this in the NBA. They can't do this in Major League Baseball. They can't do this in the NFL. If they decide to do that, they will be cut. But because track and field is so disorganized, and there's a bunch of cowards who run it, and there's a bunch of cowards who run in it, who participate in this sport, and who most of the podcasters are cowards and lames, this is the type of thing that will happen. So I'm so happy that she's a casualty, and I can't wait to the next person. This happens to the next person. If Sydney McLaughlin, who should be running the open 400-meter dash and not the 400-meter hurdles, if something happens to her in the exact same capacity, I will really celebrate. Yes, I like Sydney. She's an amazing talent. But if something like that happens to her, she trips and hits a hurdle and falls and gets up and can't qualify out of the semis, guess what, guys? We are going to celebrate too. Let me tell you why. Because for all the talent Sydney got, for all the talent Athing Mu has, for all the talent these track and field athletes have, and all the power they have, and they could have, they don't even utilize it. They don't utilize it to build up the sport. They don't utilize it to do anything except benefit themselves. Same thing, your girl, what's her name? The light-skinned chick who I just made a video about. Damn, what's her name? Allison Felix. She was in the sport 15 years, didn't do a damn thing to help anybody. She didn't do a damn thing. She didn't care about no maternity rights until she had a premature child. She didn't care about nobody until we watch her have a premature child, until we watch Tiana Madison have a preemie, until we watch Tori Bowie tragically lose her life giving birth. That's when they decided to take a stance. But the 15 years Allison Felix was in the sport before that, guess what? She didn't care about anything. So this same type of calamity, this same type of thing just happened to Athing Mu. And I'm so happy to see her fail. Very happy. She deserved every bit of what came to her. So maybe in 2028, when the Olympics are in LA, if she's even running at that time, if she's even doing well enough to compete well at that time, then maybe she'll have her mind right then, and she'll put herself in a position, and the United States, other athletes in a position to have some type of power, so that when things like this happen, guess what? You have the power to get back, still make it to the team. And guess what? You can get a union going, so the athletes can have a voice. And guess what? They can all say, if we don't let Athing Mu on, then none of us ain't running. Sha'Carri Richardson could say, none of us ain't running. No allows to stand up and say none of us ain't running if we don't let Athing Mu on the team. Why? You guys to stand together, and USATF or the United States Olympic Committee or whoever can just automatically make a unilateral decision and say she's done just because she failed and tripped up, even though she's clearly the most talented person there. This is what y'all need to think about. This is what being spineless gets you. And I'm so happy it happened to her. I'm so happy to her. I'm so happy it happened to her. And I want it to happen to more athletes. The thing that would make my month, my week, my year is if the exact same thing happened to Sydney McLaughlin and she's at home during the Olympic Games, because you guys have to learn that these track athletes are wimps, they're cowards, and they don't stand for anything. So let's keep reading the article. It said a week ago, if you told us that one of the biggest stars of the sport was healthy and fit and still considering not running the worlds, Mo would have been one of our first picks. Back in March, when Mo appeared on the Pivot podcast, co-host Ryan Clark could not help but notice that Mark seemed more excited about modeling than running. A few highlights from our exchange. Mo, modeling is 100% in my eyes view. I honestly, I don't know if I should say this. I make jokes all the time about me retiring within the next 2 years and just going to walk the runway. But I would love to go walk the runway, do editorial shoots. I would love to do anything in the fashion world. Clark, the way you talk about having opportunity to model as opposed to the way you talk about track and field is totally different. Excuse me. It's totally different lights in your eyes. Mo, 100%. Clark, every time we mention modeling or walking the runway, you just light up. Mo, yeah. When asked if she would know it's time to retire from running. When I have no time to run track, because I'm modeling too much. That's literally it. I don't know, just checking off my goals. I think I'm definitely happy with what I've done so far, but there are some more things I want to get done. So if I do get the chance to accomplish these goals, like win a double at world championships or whatever the case may be, I think realistically, because I know there is something else I want to do, I will be okay with letting it go a little sooner than maybe someone else would. And let me just stop y'all right there. Let's recall, I think Mo was only 21 years old. 21, y'all. 21. She's not 31. She's not 33. She's not 28. She's 21 years old. And the only thing she's done, she's come into the sport, had a lot of success early on. And let's not forget, she's Sue Denise. Yes, you were born in America. Your parents came here in 2001, just a couple years before you were born. But you're Sudanese for all intents and purposes. That's your bloodline, East African, which is an amazing bloodline. And that's the only reason why America even has you. We had to import a middle distance runner to be Olympic champion, because most of the time they're not bred in the United States. They're not born in the United States because they're not good. Our distance teams suck, and everybody knows that. So let me continue reading. At last month USA's, Mo admitted that she has enjoyed scaling back her racing schedule in 2023 compared to 2021, when she raced a lot, and 2022, where she raced at 10 meets and called it a season after Worlds. This year it's been so great for me mentally. Just such a relief. I probably put myself out there as I'm sorry, I haven't really put myself out there as much. Coming into these meets, whether it's a small competition, big competition, there's so much pressure just overall. You're overthinking your race days before you even out there. Just overall pressure that you feel when it comes to competing a lot. So I'm gonna be done reading this, guys. And let me tell you this. That once again, I'm happy that this happened to her, because she hasn't broken the world record yet. She hasn't won back-to-back Olympic titles. She hasn't moved on and conquered the 400-meter dash, which is something that she won and did well in while she was in the NCAAs. She ready to call it a quits, already talking about retirement at the age of 21. If this is the path that our biggest stars in track and field are going to take, of dipping and dabbling, pulling out of meets when healthy, not running, pulling out of world championship meets, even considering pulling out of world championship meets, what has this sport come to? What has this sport come to when world-class athletes like this are talking about skip? Could you imagine LeBron James talking about skipping the NBA finals when he's already qualified and made it? Could you imagine Tom Brady talking about missing the Super Bowl because he just doesn't want to deal with the pressure of it? Is this what we're talking about? And my last but not least reason for wanting her to fail is because she broke up with my boy Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller's from St. Louis. He's a young killer, amazing athlete. And the fact that she broke up with him, I heard he cheated on her and he called her, but she should stay with him. Yes, she should have accepted him cheating. She should have. She shouldn't have got rid of him. He should let him have his little chicks, and they should have been a power couple, a beautiful black power couple at that. So the thing, Mo, because you broke up with Brandon Miller, this was your karma. This was your karma for pulling out of meets. This was your karma. For considering skipping the 2023 World Championships and cheating the fans. This was your karma. And I'm happy this happened to you, Athing Mu. So this is a wake-up call to either get up to take a poop or get up off the pot, because the chickens will continue to come home to roost if you engage in this type of behavior. You and the rest of USATF athletes, get it together. And this is another episode of the biggest hater in track and field. And I want you guys to take a long good look at this picture and realize that Athing Mu will not be defending her 800-meter Olympic title. Peace.